Well, here we are. Today is Monday, June 16th, 2025. And today we're going to take a look at, we're going to do a preview of the Freeman-Hindman sale that's coming up in about 10 days in Chicago, their Asian Works of Art sale. It's a very good looking sale. There's some nice objects in here. And throughout the video, when you go to look at lots on here, you can see them on the Freeman-Hindman site. You can see them on Live Auctioneers. You can see them on Invaluable, wherever. Check the provenances of the lots, because a lot of them have some nice old provenances. Some of the items came from Marchant and Company. Many were bought abroad. Some pieces were bought in Paris back in the 1980s and so forth. We're going to go through them, but there's some things worth looking at here. There's some very nice objects from Chinese to Japanese to some very good carvings and paintings from India. There's an unbelievable hookah base in the sale that's fantastic, and there's a little bit of everything in here. There's also some very good jades and snuff bottles. And some very good carvings. So I just want to walk through them and give you a sense of what's in the sale. All right, and this is how it looks over on Live Auctioneers. This is where we're going to pull the images from because it's just easier for me. And we're going to start with this. This is a very nice Famille Rose export bowl and saucer. It is probably dates to the Yongchen period. They're just dating it as 18th century in here, but it looks like a Yongchen era porcelain to me. And it came from the Garland collection, which Mr. Garland passed away back around 1900. And then it went into the J.P. Morgan collection. And then it was given to an institution many years later, and now apparently it's been deaccessioned for whatever reason. They probably have duplicates, and it's in this sale. So do check that out. It's estimated at $1,000 to $1,500, which seems reasonable. It's a very, very finely worked cup and saucer. It retains the Garland stickers on the back. It's got some accession numbers. It looks like it has good solid history to it. You want to take a look at that if you're a Famille Rose buyer. And then hopping over to this, these are really nice. There's some good pieces in here from a collection in Rittenhouse Square in Philadelphia. And this is just one of the lots. It's a very, very fine pair of Phoenix dishes from the Kungshi period, done in the Wutsai palette. Notice the enamels. The enamels are incredibly bright on this. Extremely vibrant. They have good pictures of the backs if you want to look at those. See what the other side of these look like. But the colors are excellent. The potting is excellent, and the condition appears to be superb on these. Really, really good. They measure about 10 inches, I think, in diameter. 10 and 5/8 inches, almost 11 inches wide. Let's see here. There's a whole long list here. These were bought originally in Paris. In 1983, and then they went to the collection in Rittenhouse Square. These are very, very nice plates. They're estimated at $1,000 to $1,500. Kungshi period, with $500 opening bid. I think those are quite exceptional. And then there's another pair of dishes. Now these aren't a pair, but two dishes. The one on the left is Kungshi period, and the one on the right is probably early Qianlong with the reticulated edge on it. Beautiful Famille Rose enamels. The one on the left has the basket and Femi Vert or Wutsai decoration. It's all molded. It's one of these molded examples. We see these in monochromes. You don't see them too often in Wutsai. Both of these are extremely good looking, and they both measure, I think it was around 10 inches also in diameter. 9 and 9/16 in diameter. Again, in beautiful condition, estimated at $1,200 to $1,500 with a $600 opening bid. Those are very, very nice. And then over to this is one of those swirl bottles. I had mentioned these a couple of weeks ago in when I was mentioning that I was going to do a video about this. This is a very, very pretty one, and I noticed the colors on it are particularly strong. And they did a write-up on this, which is kind of interesting. They talk about how the history of these comes from the decoration they believe was adapted from Venetian glass and put onto these as swirl vases. But notice the tone of the color. It's very strong on these. It's extremely strong. The piece is beautifully potted, and the estimate seems very low to me. Very reasonable. Hindman's, they don't typically put huge estimates on everything. That's not how they do things. They like to put modest estimates on things, so don't let them that influence your thinking about the piece or anything like that. They just go for low estimates. They go for reasonable estimates, reasonable reserves, and because they're there to sell the stuff. So always keep that in mind. Some auction houses put sky high estimates on everything in sight, thinking that'll encourage people. It doesn't. But this is the bottom of this looks absolutely fine for the period. Nice Kungshi vase, and it measures, how tall is this? It's pretty good size, 13 inches tall. And there's a nice long write-up on it. And as I said, it's estimated at 1,500 to 2,000. I think it'll go over that. I suspect it'll probably bring 4,000 or 5,000, but we'll see. You never know. This is the kind of sale you want to go through it. You want to register. And remember, you can register at the Hindman site, and you can avoid paying the extra fees associated with buying it through live auctioneers or Invaluable, because they tack on 5%. So take 2 minutes, register at the Hindman site, and place your bids over there. It'll save you money. In many cases, it'll pay for the shipping. So always keep that in mind. And there's some good shippers. If this sale's in Chicago, there are good shippers, reasonable shippers in both Chicago and in Philadelphia. So wherever these are located, you can do all right. I like this vase a lot. I think it's very, very pretty. And then there's a nice pair of Kungshi this is a pair of fluted dishes, Kungshi period, very appealing pattern on them. Beautiful birds and flowers and giant peonies in the center, and these sort of archaistic, I don't know what you'd call these, sort of vines coming off the middle. But there's a beautiful pair of plates. There's the backs of them. And again, these I believe also come from the let's see, these were bought by repute from Jeffrey Waters in London back in the day, and they came out of an estate in Texas. These are really nice. They're estimated at $1,200 to $1,600 or $1,800, $600 opening bid. Perfectly in line, and they measure 10 3/4 inches. So again, they're decent, very decent sized plates. They're almost chargers. I like those. Those are very, very pretty. Good quality blue on them. And then this lot is interesting. This is a deaccession from an institution, and it's 2 Kungshi vases. Now, one of them has some chips and nicks to it, and the base is drilled on one and all that. But these are good Kungshi vases. You've seen these before. One of them, I guess, is drilled, so they're not perfect. The one on the right, it was apparently drilled here. This one here, but this one is not. The sleeve vase with sort of an unusual pattern on it, but they are Kungshi. There's no doubt about that. They're estimated at just 1,000 to 1,500 for the both of them, and they measure. The tallest one measures 17 3/4 inches, so they're good size. So if you're a Kungshi buyer and you're not in a position to drop 10 or 20 or $30,000 for one, this is your chance to buy a couple of very authentic vases for a reasonable amount of money. You can get the little nicks. There's some little nicks I see up around the top here. If they bother you, you can get them filled. It's not a big deal. You get the bottom filled for that matter and put them back in both in very, very good shape. But these are good looking vases, and you don't usually see them. I'm kind of wondering why they didn't sell them separately, but you get two here. It looks like 2 for the price of 1 based on the estimate. I think they'll go over that, but they're very, very attractive. I expect they'll bring probably 5,000 to 7,000, but that's still reasonable for a pair of Kungshi, for 2 Kungshi vases that size. And then moving along over to this is the Famille Rose Bowl. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It measures 16 1/4 inches in diameter, and I just like it a lot, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. If you like 18th century bowls made around 1760, 1770, somewhere in there, with this very nice pattern of birds and flowers. It's quite reminiscent of what they often refer to as pseudo tobacco leaf bowls, with the use of these giant flowers and some of the other patterns on it. It's not a pseudo tobacco leaf example, but it looks very much like it. I think it actually looks a little better than most of them. This is a very, very, very pretty bowl, beautifully potted too, very evenly potted, and looks to be in good condition. All lots, you always want to get a condition report just in case something's not mentioned. But I did notice in the descriptions here, they are including reports on condition, nicks and chips and so forth. But if you want more detailed information, get a hold of them. They'll let you know. All right, and here's the bottom of it. Looks like a very, very good bowl. It's estimated, I think, really modestly, $1,500 to $2,000 for a 16 1/4 inch 1760s bowl. I suspect it'll bring 3 to 4,000, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, leave a bid on it. Drop a bid on it of 1,500 or so, and see if you get it. Because if you did, it would be an absolute steal. It would be a bargain. And then here, there's some good silks. There's a number of good silks. There's some small robes, but I like these in particular. These very nice ochre ground, or almost this sort of light rust colored ground, 18th or early 19th century pair of panels, beautifully done, and they look to be in decent condition. All the way around, there seems to be maybe a split or a little stain here, but the rest of it looks fine. The flowers are nicely done. I don't see a lot of fading on it. They measure, they're good size though. These are big. They look like rank badges. They look sort of small, but they're actually 62 by 48 inches. So these are big pieces. These are 5 feet tall each and 4 feet in diameter. So you could frame them up and make a room out of them. Very, very nice, good quality, all that good stuff. And then the snuff bottles. There are a number of good snuff bottles in the sale. If you're a snuff bottle buyer, this lot caught my eye in particular. They're cameo agate snuff bottles, and both of them are quite unusual. The one on the left has a very unusual color, that aqua green that you don't see very often in agate. And there was some in this one, and the carver did a really good job incorporating that color into the carving here and on the back here, down here. And the one on the right is carved with fish and all kinds of things. It's got some nice color variation in it, so it makes it really stand out. The waves are beautifully carved on this. You can see waves all over the place. It looks like a really, really good bottle. So you want to check that out. They're estimated at $1,500 to $2,500, which I don't think is at all unreasonable. The one on the left, I think, is particularly rare. I think that's a very interesting bottle. So we'll see how that goes. It should do quite well. What else are they saying about this? It came from, it was bought from E.J. Frankel's, it came from E.J. Frankel's attorney. There's an interesting background. Jay Butterman. And he was the attorney for the Frankels in New York, who were, of course, the very, very well-known, very successful dealers there for many years. So they may have given them to him, who knows? But a nice looking pair of bottles. And then this Jade Dish. This is a very good-looking peach form coupe. It's heavily reticulated with vines and so forth all over it. It came from the estate of Andrew Cunningham Ware in Chicago. There's no other history on it or where he got it. But look at this. This is a beautifully carved piece of jade. Really, really is. Nicely polished, detailed underneath, which is always a good sign. Often the more recent jades, they don't usually finish the bottoms terribly well. They don't even half the time even bother with them. They just leave them as is. They might polish it out a little. This one was fully carved on the bottom as well as, of course, the top. This is a very nice brush coupe. It's estimated at $2,500 to $3,500 with a $1,300 estimate. This came from the Mr. Ware's collection. And then hopping along over to this, a nice looking rosewood Ruyi head scepter. They're dating it to the 19th or early 20th century. Now, keep in mind, often they repurpose the jades from Rue scepters and use them later. So you might want to ask for some detailed shots of the jade with an angle on it, maybe a little bit, because some of these jades could be older than late 19th century. They would be in a scepter. The scepter would get damaged. They'd build a new scepter and reset them all. And that may be the case here. But regardless, even if it's a late Qing or early Republic one, it's a beautiful example. If you like Ruyi head scepters with jades in them, it's only estimated at $800 to $1,200 with a $400 opening bid. And then this, a pair of cinnabar carved lacquer stands. These came from the Rittenhouse Square collection, I believe. They're very nicely done. They appear to be 19th century Qing stands, and they're about 31 inches tall. Nicely done. Beautiful color. The color on these is really good. And the carving looks quite exceptional with pairs of dragons facing off over the flaming pearl on both of them. They look like they're quite elegant, and they're perfect height, 31 inches, so they're not going to be brutal to ship. They're estimated at $2,000 to $3,000 with a $1,000 opening bid. Those are nice. If you like lacquer, you want to look at those. I think they're probably late Qing, but they're still elegant and beautiful. So quite exceptional. And then this very nice soapstone carving of a maiden, beautifully done, nicely polished. Love the hair and the head on it. All the way down. It is incise decorated, but very, very finely polished from top to bottom. It's estimated at $1,000 to $1,500 with a $500 opening bid. That's a good looking carving. And then over to this, the box. Hanwali Document Box, 18th or early 19th century. This is a very, very fine box. If you're a box collector or you've been looking for a nice Hanwali box, on the inquiry side of over at Bitamount each week, I get people that are interested in these boxes and Hanwali in particular. Well, here you have one. For those of you that love that stuff, you might want to check this out. Very, very good color, nice mounts on it. It looks like it's in great condition too. That's the other thing. And it's still got its, does it still have its inset? Yeah, it still has its inset drawer that goes into it. The brasses appear to be original. I don't see any repeat of, any duplicate holes on here. So they didn't, sometimes brasses get damaged and they have to replace them. There's no sign of replaced brasses on this at all. So it appears to be a 100% original, $1,500 to $2,500 opening bid. It measures 8 by 13 by 8. So it's a decent sized box. It's bigger than it looks. The photograph makes it look like it's fairly small. Always read the dimensions, because some photographs read visually as though the item is smaller or bigger than it is. And this one is bigger than it looks. This looks like a 5 by 8 box. It's not. It's nearly double that size, right? Yeah. Good looking piece of wood. And then over here, let's grab some more. There we go. The carved figure of the Guan Yin. This is a big one, too. This thing is 31 inches tall. Like I said, 35 inches tall, excuse me. It's 3 feet tall. Nice looking carving with some pigment on it. A beautiful robe work on it all the way down to the base. And it's got it looks like a coiling Fu lion on the base here. Nice looking statue. Beautifully done all the way around. There's the front of it. And I don't see any cracks on the body, which is a near miracle on these. So you might want to look at that. $2,000 to $3,000, $1,000 opening bid, but it's 3 feet tall. Keep that in mind. And it was probably made during the middle part of the 19th. Judging by the quality of the work, it looks like it was done maybe in the first half of the 19th century. It's a beautiful piece of carving. Beautiful example. And then over to this, books. This is an opportunity. If you've just recently subscribed to Arts of Asia, here's almost the complete set of Arts of Asia from 1980 to 2016. That's pretty good. 36 years of Arts of Asia magazine. Arts of Asia is a great magazine. If you don't subscribe to it, I would suggest you do. They do some great articles. They have good stories. They have special feature stories and so forth. And it's a very, very good subscription to have. Here you have all of them. So you get decades of them in one bite. This lot should do pretty well. It's estimated at $1,500 to $2,500 for 36 years worth. So that's 130 copies, something like that. And I don't think $20 a copy at all is unreasonable for these. These are absolutely worth their weight. And they're fun to read. They're also fun to read. They're fun to go through. You learn a lot. You hear about dealers you've never heard of, and work that's being done, and archaeological work that's being done, all kinds of good stuff. So you might want to buy those. Those are pretty great. And then over to this. This is an interesting lot. This is also, I think, from the Rittenhouse, the Rittenhouse Square collection. You have these two very, very nice saucers from the Kungshi period. I mentioned these a couple of weeks ago because I thought they were just so darn pretty. And this a beautiful double-walled reticulated cup on the left, also a Kungshi period. It's a good lot. That's an interesting lot. And it is estimated at $900 to $1,200, which I think is very reasonable. for that for all 5 pieces. I think the cup is the little blue and white cup. I think is alone probably worth 500 to 600 anyway. And here you get all 5 of them for one money, as they say in the trade. The $450 opening bid. And then here, the Zodiac figures, again, I'm going to go over them again just in case anybody missed them. These are quite attractive. I just love these. They're dating them as 18th century or earlier. I think they, as I said a couple of weeks ago, I think they could be late Ming examples, but the marbleized pottery decoration is really exceptional. It looks like faux bois wood grain. This is marbleized glazing. They did do it in the Ming Dynasty quite famously, in particular on pottery and stoneware. I've had many pieces myself over the years, and these look good, and it's a complete set, and these are big. Keep in mind, these are big figures. They measure 14.5 inches tall each, and there's 12 of them. So it's a lot of pottery for, I think, for a very, very reasonable estimate of $2,000 to $3,000 opening bid. Again, this is the kind of sale you want to go through and just sort of, carpet bomb everything with bids. Just go through and do it. I think you might have a surprise. You get some things, and then but they're dating them as probably Ming. I have no doubt that they are. They're Long Quan. They certainly look like Long Quan celadons to me. The one on the left I think is particularly beautiful, with the nicely carved flower in the center, and then the radiating panels. And the one on the left was bought from Henry Moog down in Georgia many years ago. As you know, he was one of the best dealers in the United States for a long time. He bought and sold great things, China trade, Ming wares, anything Chinese that was very refined. Mr. Moog was interested. And there's another bowl on the right that's a simpler version, but also a well-known type. And you get the pair of them here. They're estimated at 2,000 to 3,000. They are 13.5 inches each in size, so they're good size pieces. All right, and remember, always the Long Quan kilns shut down around 1550. So that's and they both have all the hallmarks of it. So I don't have any doubt that they are, but they're both good examples. All right, and then this, a Gandharan gray schist head of a Buddha. This is a very nice carving. It caught my eye when I was going through it. Dates to the 3rd or the 4th century. It was bought from Besant and Lefebvre in 2010. Very, very nicely done. Beautiful hair on them, in remarkable condition considering it's 2,000 years old. That's the thing to always remember with these Gandharan pieces. They tend to be very early, nicely done, $2,000 to $4,000 estimate. It measures 9 inches high. With the stand, it's 14 inches. So it would present very well in a formal living room or on a chest in a dining room or something like that. I think it's wonderful. I love those carvings. And then hopping along, Japanese stuff. There are 3 Herado lots in this sale, 2 or 3. And there's a very good Japanese Amari charger in blue and white. If you haven't seen it yet, do check it out. It's worth looking at. And then you have these very nice classic Herado vases with relief work on them. Very, very nicely done. Beautiful examples, and it's a pair. They measure, we've got to check the height on these. They're 13 inches tall, so they're fairly big. These are pretty big for Herado. Most Herado pieces aren't that tall. But visually, they look like they're about 6 inches tall, but they're much taller than that. And then hopping along over here to the end, one of the last pieces we'll talk about is this. This is that hookah base I was talking about earlier in the video. This is made of marble. It's painted marble, and the painting on this is just exceptional. You see this form often in beadry ware, that metal that they made in Bodar in India that's inlaid with silver. And this is an example that was carved out of a block of marble and then done with similar decoration of these repeat patterns, lattice pattern of flowers. It almost looks like an ogival pattern. It's very, very interesting. It looks like it's in great condition. And there are other Indian works in here too. If you buy Indian works of art, you want to check it out. There's some good lots in here. There's some nice paintings, there's some good hangings and all that good stuff. This is estimated at $1,500 to $2,500 with a $750 opening bid. And it's pretty good size. It's 10 inches tall. You want to call and check on the shipping on this because it might be pretty heavy if it's solid marble, but I think it's worth buying and shipping. And it's not enormous, so it won't take a big box. but it is heavy, and they do charge for weight sometimes, as you all know, with UPS or wherever you're using. But the box isn't huge, so the dimensional weight on it isn't bad. So I think it might be fairly reasonable to ship anywhere in the United States. Certainly, probably a couple $100, maybe $150 to ship it, $200. But a beautiful example. All right, and that's just a quick look at the sale. That's just sort of a run through. Go over and check it out for yourself. You got plenty of time to look at the lots that are going to be sold. You get plenty of time to contact them over condition reports and get whatever information you need. But I do urge you to register at the Freeman-Hindman's own website. This is it, and you can go in and bid from here and save yourself money. Save, as I said, save 4 or 5% on anything you buy. So if you're spending a few $1,000s, it's certainly worth it. And as I said at the beginning, it'll probably cover you or a big chunk of your shipping costs when you do buy something. So it's a good sale, but do check it out, read the details, and get a hold of them if there's anything you want in particular and you need more information, let them know. All right? All right, that's it for the day. Have a great rest of your week, but do check out the auction. As I said, it's on June 26, 2025 at 10 a.m. Live in Chicago. All right, see you next time. All right, bye-bye.